Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Bloody Jacob here, and I'm here to bring you a video review on the Season 4 finale of Game of Thrones, The Children. And, I'm sure a lot of you guys tuned into this episode. There was a huge amount of hype surrounding it, and, I even read an article with one of the producers, I think, saying that it was supposed to be the finest hour for Game of Thrones. And I don't really know if I'd go that far, but it may have been the best finale we've had. May have not been, but it definitely was a great episode in my opinion. And I read a lot of comments on Facebook. A lot of book readers are disappointed that a character called Stoneheart didn't appear. And while I can't personally comment on that too much because I haven't read the books, just deal with it. Is all I really have to say about that. I'm sure if she's that big of a character down the road, they'll bring her in next season, or at least within a couple seasons at least. So keep your panties unwadded and, just sit down and enjoy the show for what it actually does, okay? Just enjoy what they show us and get excited about what that happening in the future. Stop bitching, complaining about it, and just enjoy the damn show. Anyway, enough about that. So let's see. A lot happened in this episode. I'm gonna try to start from the beginning, but I might get a little bit out of order here, so forgive me. With Jon Snow, last we seen him, he went out, past the wall, and he was gonna go confront the leader of the wildlings and, kill him. And so he got to the base, with his hands raised up so he could get in the tent and things like that, saying he was sent to negotiate with him. And, okay, well, wait. See, I'm getting out of order already. Before Jon Snow left, he talked to, I forget the guy's name, but one of the main guys from the wildlings that they captured but kept alive. Really sorry that I forget his name right now, but he basically told Jon Snow that Ygritte loved him, and he knew that because she was always talking about wanting to kill him, and that was why. There's some really interesting psychology right there, for Ygritte's character, which I thought was pretty interesting. Okay, anyway. And so Jon Snow gets the main area where the wildlings are. He gets in with his hands raised up and with the lie that he was sent to negotiate from the Night's Watch. And so I actually can't remember the leader's name either, but you guys know who I'm talking about. I'm sorry, I'm just drawing a blank. So with that, they talked and they kept on drinking to different people that they missed or that were killed. The leader mentioned how the main giant that smashed through the gate in the last episode and killed those 3 friends of his. He was like the last of his kind or whatever. And they drank to him, and then they drank to Ygritte and a couple others, I think. So that was kind of cool. Then there's like they're serving drinks and food, and there's this knife there, and then they were Jon Snow looked at it, and I'm not sure if he was gonna actually go for it and try to kill the guy right there. I think he probably was, but so after that, when that was about to happen, it was stopped, and then you see Stannis and Davos. Am I pronouncing his name right? Okay, well anyway, Stannis rides in, and he just basically takes over the place, and so we got some interesting dialogue. We got Eddard Stark mentioned again, which is always nice, and even Stannis says he was an honorable man, and he asks Jon Snow because of that, what does he think that they should do with the wildling leader, or what does he think his father would do since he was an honorable man. And Jon Snow says, I think he would, take him prisoner and see what he had to say, which is true. I see Eddard Stark doing that. And he says, I also think that if my father were still alive to see what I've seen, then he'd tell you to burn all the bodies before nightfall. Because of the whole wildling zombie thing, So, yeah, that was really cool. I think that it's nice to see Stannis and Jon Snow having a scene together. And, it's definitely setting up some interesting things for next season, for sure. And, so that part's pretty interesting. And, back at King's Landing, to the real... Okay, well... at King's Landing, we see Cersei, and we got actually a surprisingly intense scene here between her and Tywin. And, she's trying to get Tywin to give up the idea of her being forced into that marriage with Loras, Sir Loras, and, Tywin's still refusing and, saying, if she puts her family above anything else, she would do this, and, so on and so on. And, then Cersei basically reveals to Tywin that, the rumors about what her and Jaime have been doing, the whole incest thing is actually true, which it is, of course, we know that, but Tywin either never did or he refused to believe it. And he still denied it there, but you could tell his wheels were turning, and he actually believed her when Cersei told him that, Jaime and her are, lovers, basically. So... tarnishes some of Tywin's own legacy in his mind. And, that he obviously connects the dots and figures out that Joffrey and the rest of them are actually Jaime's sons. So that kind of tarnishes his whole perfect legacy idea, which is really fun to see. And Tywin's such a bastard. So I don't wish bad upon mostly anyone. But, it was still nice to see Cersei kind of hand it to him there, in my opinion. I don't love Cersei either. She's extremely dislikable, which she's supposed to be. But it was still nice seeing her stick it to Tywin there. So, and then she went to Jaime and told him that she told Tywin about them, and, that of course they had an intense making out scene, which probably led to sex off screen, of course. So there's that, which I thought was pretty cool. And, then we cut back to Arya and the Hound, or at least Brienne and Podrick. And, so I really didn't see this next scene coming. I guess from the last time we seen him, Arya and the Hound never went into the area after they heard that Arya's aunt was dead. So they never went in there and seen Sansa there or anything like that. Which, I guess makes sense from them being out there, if the aunt was dead, then what's the point of going in there, but... So I'm wondering, what Sansa's going to be getting up to in there now next season. We'll see later. But as far as Arya and the Hound go, they apparently traveled away from there, of course, apparently about 10 miles. And they coincidentally ran into Brienne and Podrick. And, which I thought was a little bit of a stretch for them to just run into each other, but, of course, things happen. So, then we got a pretty intense scene between the Hound and Brienne, because, Brienne told Arya that she was sworn to protect Catelyn, which is, of course, Arya's mother, and, and Arya asked, why didn't you, and, so that part's pretty intense, and... Brienne says it was a sacred oath, and then Brienne eventually figures out it's actually Arya, and then she starts getting all, upset because, she realizes it's Arya and she needs to protect her and any of Catelyn's children, and so she keeps on asking Arya to come with her. Then the Hound steps out from taking a shit, and the Hound basically defends Arya, and, he at first thinks, that Brienne was paid with Lannister gold, and that she was sent to, for the bounty on the Hound's head. And, so Brienne never really said anything too much to really defend herself about that, besides just denying it, which anyone would do. I thought Brienne could have probably done a better job of showing the Hound that she wasn't sent by the Lannisters, but, And because of that, a huge fight erupted between Brienne and the Hound, and it was really, really brutal. Um, Overall, probably a lot more brutal than the Oberyn and Mountain fight, actually. All besides the ending. Well, because of the whole Mountain and Oberyn thing, I thought, yeah. You guys get the picture. um, so, yeah, it was definitely a brutal fight between the Hound and Brienne. And, yeah, definitely really, really physical, what you'd expect from both of them, especially the Hound. And, yeah, it led to, Brienne picking up a big rock and just hitting the Hound over and over with it, while he was standing up. Even though the Hound had the advantage for a good portion of the fight. And she eventually knocks the Hound off this hill, or rocky hill, or whatever you want to call it. It's not really a mountain, but, it's no pun intended. It's not really a mountain, it's more like a medium-sized hill with, quite a few rocks, And, not medium-sized, it was a big hill, okay, whatever. But, so the Hound falls down there, and, Brienne and Podrick leave. Brienne's looking for Arya, but she hid, stays out of sight. And, Arya goes to see the Hound, and, the Hound's extremely badly wounded, from what Brienne did to him, and, from the fall he took, and you see something's, stabbed into his leg, too. So, he admits that he's probably gonna die unless, there's, a doctor, or, I forget what they call them. I'm forgetting a lot of things tonight. But, so he basically says, yeah, I'm probably gonna die unless I get some help, And I don't think there's anyone, above the hill over there, And he basically tries to piss Arya off so she'd kill him. That doesn't really work. And, so the Hound basically begs Arya to kill him. And, and Arya just leaves him alone. And, and Arya goes off. She uses this coin she got from the Faceless Assassin, and then she starts heading to. I don't know if it was Braavos. I don't think it was Braavos. It could have been anywhere. I forget where it was. But so Arya heads off on that ship. I'm not sure if they said where she was going exactly or not. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, she was trying to go to the wall. Where Jon Snow is, of course. What she was told there is there's of course a war going on, it's not a good time to be there and things like that. But, she shows the coin from the Faceless Assassin and they sail off with her. So I'm guessing that's where she's going, is to Jon Snow. And, or where she thinks Jon Snow is, but she doesn't know the full situation over there. And as far as the Hound goes, I see a lot of people assuming he's dead, which is, fair to assume. But, I don't excuse me. I honestly don't know if he actually is dead or not, because, of course Arya didn't kill him. So, I don't really think it made sense for Arya just to try to let him suffer either, in my opinion, because, Hound wasn't far from a perfect guy, but, I think he redeemed himself a little bit. So, I don't think it was right for Arya to just leave him there. Unless she knew in her mind that he was gonna survive anyway. Which I admit it's debatable if the Hound's alive or not, but I really hope he is. Because it's a shame. It'd be a shame for the Hound just to be killed by Brienne on the road there. Because I think I mentioned in my Game of Thrones positive video that I'd like to see the Hound and the Mountain fight again before either of them dies. With the Hound killing the Mountain, hopefully. So I really hope the Hound's still alive and we get to see more with him in the future. And we get to see that whole Mountain thing play out and get closed off before anything happens to either of them. So I'm hoping the Hound's still alive. I think it's possible he is, but it's possible he could have just succumbed to his wounds and died there. But we'll see next season, but I'm hoping it's him surviving. And, let's see, I don't really want to miss anything. As far as the Mountain goes, we've seen him being treated back at King's Landing, which was probably before the whole Brienne and Hound fight. And, the Grand Maester is saying, oh yeah, it's too late to save Sword Gregor, he's done for or whatever, And I guess, I forget this other doctor's name, but he was, doing something special for him, and he told Cersei he's gonna be different after this, and all Cersei said about the mountain was, "Will he be weak?" And then the guy says no, and then she just leaves. So that's all she cares about. As long as the mountain can, be as strong as he is and just slaughter anyone, she wants for her, then she's fine with it. So it's gonna be interesting to see what actually changes about the mountain. I don't know if it'll be his personality or, how he acts, or I don't know, or it'll be something physical. But apparently he's supposed to be the same, if not stronger. So we'll see what happens with that. That could be interesting. Again, I say I hope the Hound's alive so they can eventually fight each other again with the Hound killing him. But we'll see what happens. So that part was intriguing, and so I think that's all I have to cover until the most important part. Let's see. Oh yeah, of course, and Bran. We see him, and they eventually reach the area they're trying to get to this whole time. And the kid that was helping him along, the weird one, the mysterious one, with the other sister. These skeletons rise up and they eventually kill him, and then after that, Bran uses the Bronn or Bran, I always get those names mixed up, but the kid, Bran Stark, he possesses Hodor again, uses him to kill, a couple of the skeletons, and eventually they run to this cave, and, then they come across this older guy, and he says he's Three-Eyed Raven among many other things, basically, and, he says he knew all of them would be there eventually, and he's been watching them since, their lives have started or whatever. That means he's watching Hodor. But, so that part is really cool. I don't read the book, so I don't really know who it's supposed to be there. But it's definitely a game changer, I feel like, for sure. So, that part was pretty cool. And, okay, I think that's all I have to get through before Tyrion. Okay, now this is definitely the best part of the episode. This is definitely the part I was most looking forward to, was the follow-up to Tyrion at King's Landing. And, so I admit I kind of spoiled myself on this part by seeing some comments on Facebook about what happens in the book, so I did admittingly spoil it for myself to a certain degree. But wow, this is a great sequence, which I'll tell you about. And hey, I know I didn't really give you guys a heads up on the spoilers, but really, if you're watching a review, come on, you want to see everything talked about, you don't just want to, see a review that peas around the bush. So, anyway, we see Jaime. Jaime actually helps Tyrion escape, and, they share a pretty touching moment, and, Tyrion tells Jaime, "Thank you for my life," and then they hug, and, Jaime gives him a little, romance kiss on the head and everything, So that was really touching. And, and it looks like Tyrion's leaving because I guess Ferris, again, I'm getting pronunciations messed up here, but, he helped Tyrion. Jaime set up the whole thing for Tyrion to escape. But before Tyrion leaves, he actually uses this little compartment to climb back up into the, area. And Tyrion, this part was an extremely satisfying payoff. Tyrion goes to where Shae was staying, and if you guys seen the last the Tyrion's trial episode, Laws of Gods and Men, you'll see how Shae betrayed Tyrion and, just basically sold him out and backstabbed him, really. And Tyrion sees Shae in bed, I'm not sure. I don't know if he was planning to do anything drastic. I think he might have just wanted to talk to her at first, possibly. But, then, Shae starts moving around, then you hear her say, "Tywin, my lion?" Oh God, Shae. I have to say, Shae is a complete lying, whore, okay, we'll say it that way. So I guess right there we find out that Tywin actually started sleeping with Shae after the whole trial thing, and we see Tywin's, hand to the king pin, laying across his clothes and stuff. And so yeah, so that's a pretty major blow on both parts. And you see when Shay turns around, she sees it's Tyrion. Both of them get kind of emotional. And so you basically figure out that, yeah, Shay's a complete sellout. That'll take, she's an opportunist. That'll take whatever gives her the most money or the most benefit. And that basically tells Tyrion that, yeah, she called anyone her lion, so that whole thing never meant anything with Tyrion at all to her. And you get to see that broke Tyrion's heart all over again. And because of that, this next part was so damn satisfying. We see Tyrion, jump out of the bed and, Shay tries slapping him off and stuff like that. But then Tyrion eventually pins her hands down, and he uses her necklace and just, goes down on the bed and just pulls and, strangles Shay, and kills her. And he says, "I'm sorry," twice, because he was still really attached to her. He actually might have loved her. And, so it was really a heartbreak two different ways for him right there. But it was definitely satisfying to see, Shay get, her comeuppance, basically. And it was great to see Tyrion wrap up that part of it. There were a lot of good closure there. And, for sure. And, after that, you see Tyrion's face turn, really dark, and then he eventually goes to, the bathroom. We don't call it the bathroom, they had, another name for it I can't pronounce. But, yeah, then Tyrion grabs a crossbow. It might have been the one Joffrey actually used to use. He grabs a crossbow and heads to the bathroom area, and, he sees Tywin sitting there, and, Tywin says, "Oh, let's at least be civilized and go back to my chambers, so we can talk about it like men, And then, he doesn't think Tyrion will actually shoot him or kill him because, you're my son. And he keeps on saying that, And yeah, a lot of really good psychology here, for the characters. And, Tyrion asks him all these questions, and Tywin, says, "Do you really think I was going to have so-and-so cut your head off and have you executed? You're my son, you're a Lannister." So he tries to fill Tyrion's head with that again, and then Tyrion eventually asks him why, if, he basically calls out Tywin and tells him, "You knew I never poisoned Joffrey, so but you put me through the trial anyway, and you're going to have me executed." And yeah, it was great to see Tyrion finally again let out, after the trial episode, of course, he let out even more of his feelings toward his father, and, Tywin, he tried to get more answers out of him while he was pointing the crossbow at him. And I don't really want to try to repeat too much of what Tyrion said to him, because that would just want to do it too much justice, and I might not remember everything. So you better just watch it for yourself, but I'll tell you this much, it was really, really satisfying to see him ask all these different things, and just a lot of ground covered with that. And then eventually Tyrion just shoots Tywin in the shoulder with a bolt, and Tywin's really surprised. And then eventually, and after Tyrion does that, Tywin says, "You're not my son," yeah. And then Tyrion says, "I was always your son," or something along those lines. And he shoots Tywin again and kills him. And that was pretty surprising, to say the least, because, like I said, I haven't read the book, so I didn't really see that coming. Besides, I told you I kind of spoiled it for myself. But, wow, it's almost been 24 minutes here, so it was really satisfying and surprising to see Tyrion kill Tywin for me. Well, not for me, but to me it was really satisfying to see that. I'm sure to a lot of people it was great to see that finally happen. And it was great to see Tyrion actually be the one to kill Tywin, his father. After all the torment he had helped to put Tyrion throughout his life, and all the disadvantages he's given him, and the disregards, and different things like that. So to see Tyrion kill him was incredible. It felt incredible. Definitely the best part of the episode, and the most well acted for sure. So Peter Dinklage is amazing, and so is the actor who played Tywin. Charles Dance, I think his name was. Yeah, so he did a fantastic job, and he played a great bad guy and a great, powerful figure too. So hats off to both of them. But it was great to see Tyrion live and not be executed, of course, so I was really happy about that. And we got to see so much of Tyrion's story wrapped up in this episode, and so much gratification and satisfaction, like I kept on saying. And so after that, Tyrion leaves, and he sails off, and they didn't really say where he was going. It could be to Braavos or to where Daenerys is, maybe. That's maybe some nice speculation. I might do a video like in a few months, or like when it gets closer to season 5 premiering. I might do some more speculation about where the characters are going. But so I'm not sure where Tyrion's going, but it's really leaving it open, and I'm really excited to see where Tyrion's character goes after this. And like I told you guys before, Tyrion is by far my favorite character, and so seeing him getting this much, closure for him, and then seeing him get sailed off on like a whole new story arc for him, which is going to be really interesting to see where he goes. I cannot wait for season 5. So that basically ends it, and let's see, there's something at the end. Oh yeah, the thing at the end is with Arya sailing away, but I told you guys about that already. So so overall I thought it was a really, really good finale. It could have been the best finale we've seen so far, or at least right up there with like the later episode from season 2, episode 9, Blackwater. I think it was right up there with that. And of course, you can't really top the moment when Tyrion killed Shay and Tywin. You can't top those moments, in my opinion. It was great seeing Tyrion do that, and the thing with Jon Snow, and even Bran, the smaller Stark boy. That was great to see. The whole Arya and Hound thing, and Brienne was intense. Although I hope the Hound is alive. And so the whole episode was really, really good, and I personally was not disappointed with it. So it might have been a stretch to say it was Game of Thrones' finest hour, but it was definitely a great episode. And I definitely can't wait to see where they go in season 5 and for the rest of the series. So yeah, there's your review, and I guess I'll catch you guys next time. I really didn't mean for it to go this long, but I did, so there you go. Might have been my longest video so far, or at least very close to the Being Human finale review. So I'll catch you guys next time. Great finale. Game of Thrones is a fantastic show. I'll catch you guys next time, and peace.